What lies at the deepest depths of the waters has long been a mystery for scientists. No one had traveled down 1,000 meters to explore. Scientists wanted to get a handle on just what's down there.
I lived for 2 weeks in the bottom of the sea.
Oh, Jesus. 2 weeks at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah.
How deep?
It was exactly 20,000 millimeters under the sea. It was about 60 feet. But the cool thing was we stayed there for weeks.
Marine archaeologists are claiming that a 7,000-year-old stone wall discovered beneath the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of France could completely rewrite our understanding of prehistoric human civilization. The structure, weighing an estimated 3,300 tons and stretching nearly 400 feet across a drowned valley, was built by hunter-gatherers centuries before the construction of Stonehenge or the pyramids of Egypt. And what researchers are finding embedded in its design is forcing scientists to question everything they thought they knew about early human societies. Share this with everyone you know, because in 2017, retired French geologist Yves Fouquet was studying newly produced undersea depth charts generated with LiDAR technology for the waters off Finistère, the jagged western tip of France where land meets the Atlantic. What caught his eye was something that should not exist. A ruler straight line cutting cleanly across an underwater valley, 120 meters long, at a depth of 9 meters below the surface. Nature, as any geologist knows, doesn't do straight lines. Before we break down exactly what they discovered and why this changes human history forever, please make sure you subscribe. We're giving you the real analysis that rewrites the history books. Fouquet's hunch proved correct, though confirmation had to wait until the following winter, when seaweed die-off created visibility windows in the choppy Atlantic waters. Between 2022 and 2024, marine archaeologists from the Société d'Archéologie et de Mémoire Maritime conducted 59 individual dives off the tiny Breton island of Seine, battling strong Atlantic swells, powerful tides, and rapidly changing currents that made underwater work treacherous. What they mapped beneath those waves would shake the foundations of prehistoric archaeology. The divers found a vast, human-made granite wall averaging 20 meters wide and 2 meters tall. The structure they named Taif 1, after Tularfat, the Breton term meaning hole of the wave, consisted of approximately 60 massive granite monoliths set directly onto bedrock in pairs at regular intervals, with smaller slabs and packing stones filling the gaps to lock the entire construction into a single, deliberate engineering feat. According to the study published in the International Journal of Nautical Archaeology, the total mass of rock moved was approximately 3,300 tons. Think about what this actually means. By reconstructing ancient shorelines using detailed sea level data, researchers dated the wall to between 5,800 and 5,300 BC. That's centuries older than Stonehenge and millennia older than the pyramids of Giza. At the time of construction, sea levels were approximately 23 feet lower than today, and Seine Island was 14 times larger than its current size. The wall would have stood on dry land somewhere between the low tide and high tide marks, positioned precisely where coastal settlements faced their greatest environmental threat. But here's the first shocking twist. The construction technique revealed something archaeologists never expected from Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. The paired monoliths of Taif 1, some reaching 1.7 meters in height, resemble the paired standing stones dotting Brittany's landscape today. Except these underwater stones predate their terrestrial counterparts by approximately 500 years. Writing in the International Journal of Nautical Archaeology, researchers noted this implies a direct transfer of megalithic construction knowledge from Mesolithic hunter-gatherers to the early Neolithic farming societies that eventually replaced them. The wall demonstrates remarkable understanding of engineering principles. Taif 1's cross-section is asymmetrical, with deliberate thickening on the side exposed to northern swells. Large vertical slabs sit between monoliths as reinforcement. Smaller upright plates are inserted along the summit, where hydrodynamic pressure reaches its peak. Angular granite blocks pack the interior and form outer flanks engineered to withstand wave impact. Winter waves in this sector can reach heights of 15 meters. For any structure to remain intact after 7,000 years in these conditions requires sophisticated planning, not random stone placement. Analysis revealed that 80% of the granite blocks came from low-lying areas, while the monoliths appeared to be quarried from nearby reefs. The variety of construction materials and techniques, including vertical monoliths, large horizontal slabs, small vertical slabs, and angular boulders, demonstrates advanced planning and labor organization that simply should not exist among mobile hunter-gatherer bands. Then came the second devastating revelation. Archaeologists also discovered at least a dozen smaller stone structures in the same underwater zone, labeled TAF-2A, TAF-2B, TAF-3, and a second group identified during 2024 dives. One formation called YAG-3C runs 164 feet and uses small monoliths set close together in parallel rows. These tighter builds point to different functions. Small blocks conceal gaps where tides pull water through, suggesting sophisticated fish trap construction. But researchers have proposed two primary theories about TAF-1's function, and both are shocking. The first hypothesis sees it as an advanced fish weir, a tidal enclosure where fish become trapped as waters recede. However, the wall's dimensions make it exceptional. Its average height of 1.7 meters exceeds the standard calculated for fish traps in the area by over half a meter. The second theory is even more extraordinary. TAF-1 may represent humanity's earliest known defense against rising seas, a defensive intended to shield shoreline settlements from the rapidly encroaching Atlantic as the last ice age released its grip and global sea levels rose at catastrophic speeds. Think about the implications. Between 6,000 and 5,000 BC, sea level rise was fragmenting the Brittany coast at an alarming rate. Areas that had been permanently exposed were being submerged. Storm waves entered previously protected zones. Valleys became channels. Islands became reefs. According to researchers, a community living in such a dynamic environment would have needed to adapt quickly, and large stone constructions provided one form of adaptation. Perhaps the most ambitious engineering response to climate change ever attempted by a prehistoric society. But the third twist changes everything about what these hunter-gatherers were capable of achieving. Quarrying multi-ton granite blocks, transporting them across tidal zones, aligning massive monoliths with precision, and reinforcing the structure at regular intervals would require sustained leadership and social organization far beyond anything attributed to Mesolithic communities. Seasonal timing would have been critical. Construction could only occur during periods of lower seaweed cover and calmer weather, as demonstrated by the brief windows modern research teams use for diving. To complete TAF-1 as it exists today, the builders would have needed to schedule work with precision, train individuals in specific tasks, and feed a workforce during construction periods. These requirements indicate a stable community with planning capabilities and knowledge transmission across generations. Archaeologist Yvon Payer of the University of Western Brittany noted the wall was built by a very structured society of hunter-gatherers who had become sedentary when resources permitted, demonstrating a level of social complexity previously unrecognized in this period. Then intelligence agencies discovered the final game-changing truth. Except it wasn't intelligence agencies, it was something far more intriguing. The discovery at Tular Fat may provide archaeological evidence for one of Brittany's most enduring legends. The story of the city of Wise, the Atlantis of Brittany, has haunted this coastline for over 1,000 years. According to Breton folklore, Wise was a magnificent city built on land reclaimed from the sea in the Bay of Douarnenez, ruled by King Gradlin. The city was protected by massive walls and gates that held back the ocean at high tide. When Gradlin's daughter Dahut opened the floodgates, the city was swallowed by the Atlantic forever. Researchers now believe this legend may preserve actual memories of coastal settlements abandoned as rising seas overwhelmed their defenses. It is likely that the abandonment of a territory developed by a highly structured society has become deeply rooted in people's memories, the study authors write. The submersion caused by rapid sea level rise, followed by the abandonment of fishing structures, protective works, and habitation sites, must have left a lasting impression. The catastrophic flooding that drowned TAF-1 and surrounding settlements could be the historical kernel around which the Wise legend crystallized over millennia. Think about what this discovery forces us to reconsider. The prevailing assumption held that Mesolithic groups in Western France were small, mobile, and technically conservative. That assumption collapsed when divers documented a straight stone wall cutting directly across a drowned valley, reinforced by more than 60 granite monoliths, still standing precisely where they were placed 7,000 years ago. Nothing about this wall corresponds to expectations for loosely organized hunter-gatherer communities. The implications extend far beyond Brittany. The technical capacity demonstrated at TAF-1 predates the earliest known megalithic monuments on land, including the famous Karnak stones that date to between 4,600 and 4,300 BC by approximately 500 years. This means the knowledge required to extract, move, and erect large stones did not originate with Neolithic farmers. It traces back to coastal hunter-gatherers who developed these skills to solve practical environmental problems rather than symbolic ones. Their expertise was then transferred to incoming Neolithic populations who applied it to construction of the tombs, standing stones, and alignments that define the region's later prehistory. The discovery also underscores the massive scale of information missing from the archaeological record. Most coastlines inhabited during the late Mesolithic are now submerged beneath dozens of feet of water. The societies that built TF1 left few traces on land because their primary settlements, fishing grounds, and monuments are underwater, invisible to conventional archaeology until modern technology like LiDAR mapping revealed their existence. One thing is absolutely certain. While we've always assumed that megalithic construction and complex social organization arrived with agriculture and farming communities, this 7,000-year-old wall proves that hunter-gatherers possessed sophisticated engineering knowledge, coordinated labor systems, and long-term planning capabilities centuries before the Neolithic Revolution. The builders of TF1 attempted to freeze the coastline in stone, constructing Europe's earliest known sea defense system in a bold but ultimately futile effort to hold back the Atlantic Ocean as climate change redrew the map of their world.